What's going on, AfterBuzzers? Welcome back to 13 Reasons Why After Show. We're talking about Season 3, Episode 8. In high school, even on a good day, it's hard to tell who's on your side. We are discussing Bryce's letters, Porter's back, interrogating everyone, and Tyler finally shares his truth. Got a lot to talk about. Stay tuned.
You're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
What's up, guys? We fooled you. April Fool. No.
In September, April Fool.
Everybody's like, what's going on? We are here, third time, talking about Episode 8. Welcome, everyone, and thank you for tuning in yet again. I'm your boy, Danny Royce, and joining me, my co-host. You know her from Disney TV. I was getting there.
No. It's not news.
I know. I was getting to weekly. Let me get to weekly. Okay, Disney TV Weekly. Okay, she brings us the news and gossip every show. Shay Jones.
Hey guys, this is a very serious episode, so we should not be giggling. So we understand that.
Yeah.
But I am so happy to be back. 13 Reasons Why, Episode
Yes.
8, with these amazing people. This panel is lit. Okay.
Yes, and to her left, you see her on Travel Show. Monica Goes. She also runs our Whodunit special segment every episode. Monica
Hey
Ortega.
guys, thank you guys for tuning in. We got so much stuff to talk about, and I cannot wait.
And
Yes.
you not only see this man on The Terror, he doesn't just do horror. No, he loves his drama, and that's why he is our leader, Mr. Danny Royce to my right.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. Thank you. Save the applause. All right.
You get nothing.
There's never an applause. Damn it, no. Okay, this title, I'm telling you, they're getting longer and longer.
Ooh.
In high school, even on a good day, it's hard to tell who's on your side. Let's talk about what is going on in that chat room, huh? 'Cause that's-
I'm sorry, I'm still even drinking.
3 episodes in a row, we're getting delirious.
they asked if we were drinking. No.
With an emoji so they're drinking too. She wants to know.
Is it really water in this cup? You will never know. No. All right, but I want to start off with getting onto Bryce's letters, okay? All right, when you found out Bryce's letters in, Nora's office, Monica, when Clay saw that, what did you think that was all about, just from seeing that folder?
I didn't know. I thought maybe they were like apology letters, like he was doing to Jessica.
Mm-hmm.
Like maybe he was trying to right his wrongs. I didn't really know what was happening with that. And then, this episode got crazy.
Shay, did you have any first thoughts about that?
It was just, I thought maybe it said Bryce's letter, but it was maybe Nora's letter until obviously we went through the episode.
Yeah.
Like maybe her own.
So you thought it was
Her own process?
Nora's letters to Bryce?
Yeah, first.
Okay,
Maybe.
yeah, that's what I thought too. I was like, oh.
And obviously we got more into the episode, and
Yeah.
it was actually something Bryce wrote
Right.
about his own feelings that his mother has to him.
Right, which is an amazing exercise. So you do a lot with just self-reflecting and self-development. You writing yourself a letter through the perspective of someone else, which was interesting when we found that out. And Nora was very heartbroken when she read the letter. I mean, any mother would, right? But that feeling, that was like the basis of the relationship between Bryce and his mom. What did you think, Monica, when Nora read that letter and what she said afterwards?
It was so interesting to me because she did say, like, obviously this breaks my heart, but then she went through the steps of, you're right, like, I was cold, and I did put up a wall, and, her own reasoning behind it, which you kind of understand with, like, postpartum and stuff like that, and somebody that didn't necessarily want kids and finds herself in the situation. But then, obviously, she fell into that routine of keeping him at a distance, and then to see as a grown-up how it affected him, that whole scene was
It was amazing, but it was hard to watch.
This whole
as well.
episode was emotional.
Yeah, this whole episode. But I do want to say, because 13 Reasons Why, you guys never fail to bring every subject into play. We're talking about postpartum now, you know, everything. and
Yeah.
leave any stone unturned.
Which happens a lot to women,
Yeah.
especially when they first have kids. And so I think maybe especially back in the time, because of how she was raised, you didn't talk about it.
Mm-mm.
It was just something
Oh,
you
yeah.
dealt with.
Mm-hmm.
I think one thing that the show does really well is even the villains, they get to what made them that way.
Yes.
And it does a really good job of showing that, like, there's good and bad in everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And it can take these characters that you hate and you have no sympathy for, and then it kind of runs through their stories, and you're like, oh, they've been through some stuff. And obviously we all know that. Like, when we see somebody that's terrible, we're like, well, obviously they've been through something. But then you get to see that side of it, and that was such a good moment for her to understand why her character was so cold to him.
Yeah.
Because we knew, like, from the dad and the grandpa how they treated him and what he saw as a man. But then for him to say, like, as a kid, I needed my mom,
Yeah.
and her to go through postpartum and talk about that. So.
Right. And mothers are gods in the eyes of a child. I always say that because it's so true. Like, that's your first relationship, even when you're in the womb. And for you not to be there and to be standoffish, like, by the time she was ready, like she said, by the time I was ready, it felt like you didn't need me anymore.
Yeah.
And as a mother, like, you have to be ready even before you're ready. Like, because let's face it, like, you brought someone into this world. So, and if you're not ready for that, then you need to find out someone who is, or whatever, what have you. But it was sad, that whole scene. But they did have a breakthrough, which I liked.
Yeah.
They were able to talk. They were able to discuss the sin.
Yeah, I liked how she listened to him
Mhm.
and went through the story and the emotions instead of just reading and be like, this isn't how I feel.
Yeah.
Why would you think that?
Right.
You know, because it could have gone that way.
Yeah.
And then he could have felt very rejected again, but instead they did have this breakthrough, which
Yeah.
I thought was beautiful.
I like the juxtaposition of something Clay said, I think last episode, where he was just like, I have never, nor will I ever claim to be a man.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, we're calling Bryce a man, but he still is a boy.
He's still a boy, yeah.
He's still a boy, and that is something also think we as human beings need to understand. Technically, yes, when you turn 18, you're technically in the eyes of the law legally a man, but emotionally, maturity-wise, you're still probably a little boy.
Right. Yeah. You can go off and fight wars, but you can't buy alcohol. That's another story. So
Unless you're in Europe.
Yeah, well, yeah, but here, no. What chat room's going
this
on?
is beautiful.
What's on?
So Debbie says 13 Reasons Why shows the saying, you never know what everyone is going through, so never judge no matter what, because everyone is hurting without realizing it.
Yes.
Yep.
Very
and then
true.
Billie Jean says, no matter how old you are, you will always need your mom.
Yes. Yep. Just text my mom earlier today. It's very true. And you never know what people are capable of, too. Like, people are capable of doing the most excruciating evil things or the most beautiful loving things. But also, Porter comes back. I was surprised to see Porter. Were you ladies surprised to see Porter back?
Yeah, I didn't really understand the point at the beginning.
Yeah.
Obviously, we get into it. But yeah, when he came back, I was like, I thought his story was kind of done. Like, he lost his job, he's gone. So why are they bringing him back? But I liked how they did it.
Yeah, I liked Porter's character.
I did too.
I really did like his character, and I'm glad they brought him back in a way that, was kind of like, we didn't know exactly what he was up to.
Yeah, to see what happened to him after the fallout, because we're going
Right.
through that with all of the characters, and obviously he was one of the tapes, and then you just never see what happened to him. So it was nice to see what had happened over time.
Yeah, and so he's in interrogation. So my whole take on it, right, why the police are using him to interrogate these students, right? Because they will talk to him and tell him things that they won't tell them. Is that where you ladies take on it? What?
I thought it was maybe if they saw a familiar face, like he'd get, like you said, he'd get more information than I am because I'm a police officer and most of you are stupid.
Yeah, but it's like, why would you be in the room as well? Like, that's just gonna make it uncomfortable for them still.
I mean, they're still uncomfortable, but I mean, they got called to and the vice principal's there, so I feel like at that point, when you have the vice principal, you have Porter, you have a sheriff. I mean, I guess I'm gonna have to sit here and say something to you.
Right.
I ain't got a choice but to talk, apparently.
I think it was to stir up emotion, too, because they knew how connected he was to their whole Hannah story and Clay Jensen and all of those things. So I think having him there was a tactic to stir up these emotions. And, yeah, hopefully to get them to talk, but also maybe to get a reaction out of somebody.
Right. Right. And so we learned that Porter was actually rooting rooting for Clay and changing kind of the narrative, so to speak. Uh, I want to break down each one individually. So, with Tyler's friend, what's it? I can't remember.
Bryce.
Bryce. No.
I don't know his
No,
actual
not Bryce.
actual name. Okay, look,
Oh,
his
yeah.
actual name is Bryce,
Yeah,
but
no,
I don't know Cyrus.
Cyrus. There
Yeah.
you go.
Oh my god, I blinked on his.
We haven't seen him in a while, right?
Not
Yeah.
since like I think like episode 2-ish.
Right.
Spring Fling, he was there a little bit, but yeah.
Yeah, and so they start going towards like Tyler, but then the police officer went back to Clay. He was like, "What's going on with Clay?" Blah blah blah. So that was interesting. But when you brought Tyler in and stirred up that emotion, Porter pointed out something very specific about the trauma that he saw. He saw that Tyler was completely different. Any of these interrogations, there was also Justin, there was also Jessica. Any of these and Zach. Any of these like kind of surprised you guys, or did they say something that was just like, oh? Because for me, with Justin, when he said maybe we should talk about you to Porter, and say
I was waiting on somebody saying no offense.
Right.
I needed some like if you're gonna come at me, I know things about you too, sir. So this is all this is about, and this is all you trying to get information. Let's play.
Yes, I was like, let's talk about it.
Let's do it.
And then he said, yeah, well, we talked to adults before, and you can just see Porter's face start to remember. And I thought that was sad.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting that he was actually rooting for Clay because I didn't get that at first. And I
No,
was
of course
angry.
not.
I was like, wait, I actually felt bad for Porter and was kind of on his side, and then he came in like that, and I was like, what is happening?
Right.
I was real mad. But then the part that threw me off was the whole smile he gave to Justin, and I was like, did he wink at him? I was so confused.
Yes.
And I thought maybe I missaw it. I was like, nah, actors Twitch or something. I don't know. But yeah, so that was the part that threw me off until it comes out that he's trying to help him.
Right.
I think Zach shocked me a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Not because what he said wasn't true, but because at first it seemed like he didn't want to be involved. You didn't think he was
Never
really
wants
going
to
to
be
side
involved.
with Clay in that way. But for him to just be like, I understood. I'm not angry. Like, Clay wanted people to be held accountable.
Mm-hmm.
That seriously, point blank, was all it was.
Right.
He wants you to be held accountable for what you do.
Yes.
I mean, and that maybe could be seen as black and white, but it's also not a bad quality.
Not at all. Not at all. Before we continue talking about this interrogation, Shay has a wonderful message for y'all.
I do. Hey guys, thank you so much for tuning into us here at AfterBuzz TV. But to keep doing what we're doing, to keep doing what we love doing, we need your help. There it is. So if you're watching us right now on YouTube, give us that thumbs up button, hit that subscribe button, and leave a comment with your theories. No spoilers, because we are only on episode 8. We are watching it painstakingly here to get to the last finale and figure out who killed Bryce Walker. So please, no spoilers. But if you're listening to us right now on iTunes, give us a 5-star rating. The 1 through 4 were drawn with Bryce. They don't work. They don't work. I mean, I know when water and technology get together, they just go crazy. It's just crazy how only the 5 works, right? That is crazy.
It is really crazy. That 5 though, it works.
That 5 works all the time, year round.
Let me get 5 on it.
And leave us a review as well. We just want to say thank you so much for making AfterBuzz TV the ESPN of TV talk, because we love talking about these shows with you. We love your passion, and we love the fact that you're just as passionate as we are as viewers, enjoying such a great show. So thank you, and back to you, Danny Royce.
Thank you, Shay. Continuing the interrogation part, I'm sorry, that was actually Alex who said that Hannah went to adults, and that's what really got him. Alex just loves just poking and just taking his aggression out. But the interesting thing is, like, Clay thinking that Bryce's own mom had him killed. Like, that was just...
I mean, it's not exactly unheard of. Parents have killed
It's not
their
unheard
kids.
of. It's not unheard of, but I just don't see any motive. Like, what motive does she have?
I do feel a little bit like that might be the writers trying to come up with who can they play off of in this episode that could be guilty? Because there's only so many characters.
Right.
And so if you're going to make it, like, switch it up each episode to have a new one seem guilty, you got to do a few that are grasping.
Right.
And also Clay's character is grasping because
He's always
everybody's
grasping.
looking at him. So at this point, he is starting to go off the rails a little bit.
Right.
We've kind of seen that in the last episode, so...
And she's fiercely convinced that it's him, so
flip it around.
So why so why couldn't it be you? Like, why are you trying to put me as the only person that could have killed Bryce? Like, when there are so many people, like we keep saying, there's so many people who did not like Bryce.
Yes.
Why am I the only focus?
And the all-knowing Ani that's there for everything saw Porter and Bryce together at the house, and Porter and his mom talking about, hey, it's going to be ugly, or whatever it needs to be. Monica, what did you think after that, seeing that conversation?
I wasn't really sure. I never got that they were, like, plotting anything evil, for sure.
Yeah.
I was just confused on why she would even call him, especially because she seems like the type of woman that wouldn't believe in therapy.
Yeah.
That, she just talked about her postpartum, like, so for her to reach out to a counselor and be like, my son needs counseling, it threw me off because I didn't necessarily get that her character would be the type of person to do that. They seem like more of a family. It's like, toughen up.
Right. Yeah.
But toughening up ain't been working. So some
and
guys
she is starting to come
yeah.
around. She's starting to have breakthroughs as well as he is. So, yeah, I thought it was, obviously we learn later why, and it was good in the end. But I never got that they were, like, plotting anything evil. I was just confused on why he was even called.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. I felt like, in one side, it's like, okay, she never went to him and actually sat down and say, let's talk. So it was kind of like her brushing it and saying, okay, you deal with it. But also on the flip side, it's like, maybe she knew that, this is way above my head. Like, I am not good at even talking about my feelings. So it's better that a professional handles this.
Yeah.
So I think it was actually a real nice act of, like, vulnerability on her side to step away and say that I can't handle this. I think that was really, really, really dope of Nora.
I want to shout out somebody in the chat, though, that I actually kind of agree with. I thought that would have been dope if they did it Big Little Lie style. Feels like you could have had each character give a statement to the police and it would have been way better. That would have been that's a nice suggestion. I actually would have loved to have seen another person's interrogation or statement to the police if they got called into the police station each episode.
So, like, the way that Ani's in the police station all the time, like each episode you have a different character. That would be interesting.
Yeah, that would be interesting.
That was by JS.
Interesting. Well, yeah, instead of getting it from Ani's perspective. Got it. We go back to Porter and Bryce. Okay, so we find out that they've been meeting up. Months apparently, which has been great, and then they also shared the Labyrinth journal, and I love how he said that's a maze. I love that part. And like, no, you get lost in a maze. Labyrinth, you find yourself.
That was so
beautiful.
Is
true, though.
Yes,
too.
it is very true.
And that is, there's a lot of symbolism for the show too.
Oh yeah.
And a labyrinth, though, while can seem like a maze because you can get lost in there for a while. But the best part about a labyrinth is eventually you find the end. You find yourself by the time you finish it.
Yeah.
Because a labyrinth can go on forever. A maze maybe 10, 20 minutes.
And we're constantly finding ourselves every day. So I just loved how it spoke about Bryce's, like, journey. Like, because it's going to be a long one. Yeah. But you're gonna get to the end of it. So I just love how he did
over here.
He got a little system, and he kept bringing up this Claremont girl. Claremont girl. Obviously, talking about Ani.
Yeah. I love how he was saying how he met somebody that makes him want to be better.
Yes.
And the whole dynamic of him telling Porter that he struggles having sex because he can't get off because the thing that has turned him on is being aggressive.
Yes.
And I thought that was so interesting to think about because you never think about it from that side. And obviously you don't want to, like, feel for the rapist, like, but it was an interesting take on it. Like, how do you change and how do you move on when this is what you've learned? Like, this is what you've learned sex is, and everything else is going to just seem tame. Right. So him kind of working through that process, I thought was super interesting to watch.
And also realizing that sex with emotions is better. And, like, but that's also something I don't think he knew before.
No.
Like, sex was just something to,
just
get
physical.
done, gratification, boop boop boop. But now you
Boop-a-doop.
but now realizing that it doesn't always have to be aggressive, and sex with emotions, and he's not that in touch with his emotions, which is something he's also been working on as well, like learning to feel empathy and to feel sympathetic and compassionate and sorrow and regret, which is something he hasn't really felt or dealt with since the whole Hannah Baker thing. So, and that's new too. So, in sex with emotions is a thing. Yeah. And it's nice to see a guy exploring that aspect of it too.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely it's interesting, like I was saying last episode, just to see this side of it, being Bryce and what happened and what he did, being able to touch, being able to feel, like you said, being able to do all of this, like he just doesn't understand. He's trying to get better at it, but it's just hard. And I think it's interesting to be on that journey, and to see that it is something that's possible. I thought that was very interesting. Did chat have anything to say about it?
Debbie says, I feel like it goes back to season 2 a little because Porter visited the house, and that's when Bryce's mom actually started realizing her son was capable of so much. So maybe she could feel she could trust him, and that's how they probably connected.
I definitely forgot about that part.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Kudos.
That was a great reminder.
Wow. That's true.
I actually forgot about him choking Bryce in season 1 though.
Right.
Until they mentioned that.
Until they mentioned that part, right? I was like, wait, he did choke.
He choked the hell out of you.
He needs some therapy of his own too. Everybody does.
Everyone does, yeah.
I mean, I think that's why
therapy.
therapists actually do have therapists. Themselves. I think people become therapists because of their own childhood, whatever is messed up in themselves. Because they want to understand things. Like I think becoming a therapist means because you want to understand the brain, you want to understand human beings, you want to understand the connection of everything, and that's why you got into it in the first place.
Right.
And you go through the self-work, and then you think, ooh, I've learned all this, and now I can use it to help other people.
Right.
But I still needed to help myself.
Yeah.
From a different perspective.
Oh, yeah, you still need to. I thought it was interesting also, like, Porter strategically called all these people in. So, because he knew their stance and thoughts about Clay to clear his name. But in doing so, he also got some beatings that was well deserved. I mean, don't you think? What do you think, Shay? You think?
Yeah. I mean, granted. I mean, we can say this all because you love. So I think these are things that they didn't get off their chest while you were here.
Right.
So and now you're confronting me about Clay when he's done so much for me. Oh no, sir. We don't play them games around here. So if we're going that route, and if you feel like attacking the choices I made because of what Clay did and believe in me being stronger or this, that, and the other, it's time to you gotta return the volley around here sometimes.
Yeah, I think he needed it.
I don't think it's a confrontation that would have come up
any other way.
But yeah, when he goes after them in this situation, like in an interrogation situation, oh yeah, their anger is coming back, and they're gonna remember real quick all the things he did.
Right.
Or
had he just shown up, they would have probably been uncomfortable, but I don't know that they would have like called him out on this or like started a fight with him. But yeah, when you're guilty too, there's blood on your hands, and you come at me, yes, they're gonna throw it back at him.
Right.
And you're coming at Clay, who's done nothing.
Yeah,
but
who's helped all of them in some way or another.
In some way or another. Like I think that's the thing, and I love the fact that he caught all of them because Clay has as much as we talk about Clay being very like black and white and going after them or holding them accountable. While that could be seen as a bad thing, it's also a great aspect of his personality where it's just like, I do care about you, but what you did was wrong.
Right.
You're strong enough to handle this. I know it sucks right now. I know it sucks, and I can't even imagine what you went through, Jessica. But you need to do this for you, not for me. Maybe for Hannah, but for you especially.
Right.
Because I don't think you're gonna actually. Because like in season 2, I don't think she dealt with this. She was kind of going through motions. She wasn't really dealing.
Right.
So I feel like Clay forcing her was how she got over it. That was a good aspect of a good effect for after.
Yeah.
Like granted, it doesn't feel like it at the time, but now almost a year later, like you're the strongest person you've ever been in your entire life.
Yeah. Now when you talk about making people change, Bryce told Porter that this girl from Claremont, Ani, is let's just call her who it is. She's making him want to change. And so I loved his response is like, she can't do that. Like no one can do that but you. And I think a lot of people don't realize that. They'll try to get over addictions, or they'll try to, change and just see different viewpoints, but no one can make you do that. And I think if you try to give that power to someone, it's going to end badly.
1,000%, because I think it's a cop out, because
Yeah.
then if they don't save you, then it's their fault.
Right.
It's like a roundabout way to being like, I want help, you do it.
Yes. Yeah.
And so I think people can make us realize we want to change, but then you have to do the work yourself. You can't go, ooh, this person made me want to change, I guess they're going to be the one to fix it
Yeah.
too. Like that, it never works that way.
Never.
And it's kind of like with Clay, like forcing the detox on Justin a little bit, in that sense of,
Yeah,
dude,
exactly.
I need you back. I don't know how we're gonna get there, but first I need to get you clean, and you need to realize that you're messed up. Like now, okay, we know, cool. So now, how do we work on you being better for yourself, not for anybody else, but for you,
For yourself first.
so you can live.
Right.
Because as much as like all the stuff we've been through, I want you to live.
Right.
I want you around. I don't want this to like mess you up.
Mm-hmm.
And they're saying it to somebody and then them having to accept changing.
Yeah.
It's one thing to say like, oh, I have an addiction or I have this problem. It's another thing to go, I have this problem and now I actually want to fix it.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Exactly.
Two very big
Oh yeah.
big steps.
You can acknowledge it.
Very different.
And just be like,
there
okay.
can be years in between those two.
Yes, that's true.
But yeah, that's a
Very true. So I'm going to move on to one of the more very sad moments, but I was actually very proud of Tyler.
I started crying.
I
Yeah.
bawled.
Like
Yeah.
Dominique asked if any of us cried, and I
ugly
couldn't.
cried.
I did not cry, but I was warm inside for sure. It just takes a lot.
I was warm inside.
It just takes a little bit to make me cry. But yeah. So Tyler tells his truth to Clay. I'm sorry. I was replaying the whole scene in my head. It's something that I wanted to happen. I'm so happy it happened, and Tyler will. I'm sure, he feels 1,000 pounds lifted off his shoulders. That he was able to just say it, which was hard, obviously, for him to say it. And he relived. You saw him relived everything. What did you think about Shay? Clay's whole reaction to what Tyler was telling him?
I thought it was perfect. I'm tearing up because I'm just thinking about it. Like especially the way he was violated, and because I think Tyler's been holding it in so tightly for him to finally, like you say, release that off his shoulder. Even by telling one person, that is a big relief. Now I'm not burdened with it as much, and maybe eventually I'll be able to talk about it at a different time. But for this one time, I was able to talk about it and tell the whole story, and have somebody say, I feel like I want to hug you right now. Can I? And being asked that, because obviously we've been seeing him not want to be touched at all.
Yes.
So for this moment, for Clay to actually just ask permission, can I hug you? And watch Tyler break down. Like, my heart broke with him as he was like, I think he was like, all those tears he was releasing was everything he's been keeping inside for 8 months. That he has not, like, we seen him cry a little bit after it, but he went straight into anger mode. So I don't think he's actually felt it.
Right.
I don't think he's actually like grieved for it. Grieved for that part of himself who he was before this happened.
Yeah.
So it was just so beautiful.
It was.
You
definitely
felt
beautiful.
the weight come off his shoulders as he broke down.
Oh,
like
yeah.
you could just feel it all. And and I think that Clay's response was absolutely perfect, just like you said. I mean, the moments when Tyler pulled back, he went, it's okay, like, if you're not ready, and then he would say more, and then he was like, okay, I'm here. Like, it was such a beautiful scene, and just a beautiful example of how to listen in a situation like that, because nobody knows what to do if somebody's telling him their story like that. But I just thought the way he handled it was so perfect.
Yeah.
And it was kind of like the situation with Jessica, but instead of being angry and being like, you need to say this so that we get justification, we get all the answers, he understood this time, like, this is not my story to tell. And had those moments of like, you got to say this. Okay, you're not ready, that's fine. Like, there was this push and pull, and it showed growth in Clay. I mean, that whole scene was just so brilliant. And kudos to the actors, because that...
Yes.
Dylan,
yeah.
they did such a great
Dylan
job.
and Dylan, yeah.
I also think it was, I want to point out something. I also think the reason why he didn't push so much it's because Tyler's a boy, and I think that's something is unheard of. Like of
Right.
guys being molested or being raped, we don't hear it or talked about enough.
That's what, yeah.
So I also think, like, even when Clay went to confront Monty, he stopped himself. He was like, "Oh, I know your secret, but you were so lucky today, sir.
Right.
Because if this was anybody else, I would have came for you. But because it is Tyler and he trusted me so hard with this is the one secret I really, 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 really need to just keep on lockdown."
Yeah.
Even if it gets him out of prison.
Yeah.
Like, he's willing to keep that still.
Yes.
Right.
He's not willing to tell anybody.
I'm happy that he wasn't forcing that story upon anyone, like did Jessica. But also, I love the scene for all those reasons. Also, the toxic masculinity that was just not there. It was just absent, which was great.
Yeah.
Like, just vulnerability to its rarest form, and just that happening to, like you said, a male, being able to share that and hug it out. Nothing wrong with that.
No.
You know,
Yes,
I found that amazing. So Clay approaches Monty. I was just like, don't say anything, Clay. Just don't say anything. Don't say anything.
Not the time to say
Personally, I really thought he was gonna bring up Winston at that point. Like that was a perfect time.
Yeah.
That was a perfect time to just be like, oh,
Like,
I know a secret. I might not know the one I want to say, but I got another one up my sleeve today. Okay, like, so you wanna try me? Oh, I will let everybody know. Okay?
Yeah, Monty probably would have start beating him down right there. Like, he has nothing, no filter or anything. But it was interesting. But it was great that he got that little tip from Porter. Clay got that tip from Porter, just knowing and just seeing, which he's gotten a lot better, just pointing that stuff out. I'm sure after the Hannah situation, and he missed that opportunity that haunted him, I'm sure, for a long time after that. And so we end the episode with this shaving cream bottle, which was a tip from Monty. Like, that was just, come on now.
That was a bit weird.
Yeah, weird.
When he saw him in the locker room.
He did.
But still, why are you telling Clay?
Right.
Well, because, like, okay, so you really think I killed Bryce here? Like, look at your brother.
Yeah, I don't know. It was interesting. An interesting thing to do. But we find out Oxy is in there. So, I mean, it didn't surprise me. I knew that Justin had a relapse. I mean, we saw him in a few episodes back looking for something. He was frantic a lot of times. He's been keeping something from Clay. I didn't think it was him killing Bryce. I thought it was him using again. Did that surprise any of you two?
No, I'm actually glad they came back to it, because I've been saying since the beginning that season 2 ends with him doing drugs, and then they haven't addressed it. So I think we're finally kind of getting into that story now, which, so it didn't surprise me at all.
Yeah.
I'm really happy though they're touching on it though, because it's actually, like, addicts don't just get clean. Like, it takes them a second.
Right.
Like, they do have a relapse.
Yeah.
And I think that's also very good to show.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it won't just be a one and done. Oh, he's better now. No, he's still struggling, and that's truthful. That's honest.
That's true. Mm-hmm. All right. Well, do you two have any last comments about the episode?
Tyler and Clay.
I know, Tyler and Clay. This was such a powerful episode. So I definitely want to point out that 13 Reasons Why.info has a lot of good resources. If you're dealing with any of these heavy, heavy topics that we've been talking about, sexual assault, depression, anxiety, postpartum, all of that stuff. And they also have a crisis text line. So all you have to do is text the word REASON, REASON, to 741-741, and there are people there that can help. So please do reach out if you need it.
Yes, please reach out.
We do.
We're going to go to our special segment, Whodunit?
Woo! Whodunit? All right, if you guys are just tuning in, every episode, based on that episode, we pick who we think killed Bryce. No spoilers. Again, we are watching one episode at a time. And since this is our last one from tonight, we really are only on episode 8. So please don't spoil it for us. But based on this episode, who do you think, Shay?
Monty.
That's who I was going to say.
I think we all got a
We're all
consensus.
going Monty.
Monty, you are the winner or the loser. I mean, how do you look at it?
I mean, having that little diversion to the shaving cream. Come on now.
Yeah, and I'm still stuck on the whole he's
And
hiding his sexuality, and when people bring it up, he gets angry to crazy levels.
Mhm.
So him being in love with Bryce, confronts Bryce, says, I love you, man.
Yep.
He doesn't react well, dead.
And yeah, exactly. He doesn't act dead. I can definitely see Monty doing it. I can definitely see like Bryce just turning him down. I don't know if it's necessarily because he wants to do whatever, but I can just see something not going well with that whole. And Bryce is the only person that knew that secret.
Well, did he know that secret? I thought it was just like Did he
I think
really
he
know
found
about?
out.
Oh, I think he found out.
Yeah.
And we know we know Monty likes to use that little baton weapon on his dad when he's knocked out. So I mean.
And it's got some blood on it
Already. Like, first of all, you didn't at least clean it. Like, you don't bleach something after you use it. I'm just saying that's just.
I'll just let the blood dry and leave it in the back seat.
Yeah.
Your own brother, quote unquote. Well.
Whew.
All right, let's move on to news and gossip.
So yeah, we have some news and gossip for you guys. So if you were wondering who is playing Prince Eric, so are we. However, 13 Reasons Why star Christian Navarro wants to throw his hat into the ring after news followed that Harry Styles will not be playing Prince Eric to Halle Bailey's Ariel in Disney's live-action remake of The Little Mermaid. So on August 13th, he tweeted, "So I heard Harry Styles passed on Prince Eric. Well, I can sing Black Ariel, Latino Prince.
Hey.
No one's called, but season 3 drops next week, and I think it's one hell of an audition." So
Nice.
I'd be down for that.
Okay.
I'd be down. Though I know a lot of people auditioning. I know Jordan Fisher is auditioning for Prince Eric, which would just be awesome. But I would love, like, if it'd be almost in a reminiscence of Rodgers and Hammerstein of a black or an Asian prince or a Latino prince. I'm so down for another, like, that type of thing because Rodgers and Hammerstein was so revolutionary in that of having an Asian prince, Brandy as the princess, Bernadette Peters as the stepmother.
Yep.
Whoopi Goldberg, come on as a queen. It's still one of the best musical films in history of having the most diverse cast.
Yeah.
It's still to be talked about in such amazing terms.
Yes. Yeah, I'm
He also
down
looks
for it.
like Prince.
I'm down for the cause.
He does though.
He really does.
All he needs is blue contacts and he's perfect.
Yeah.
I'm down for the cause. Let's go. Diversity. All right, folks. Well, thank you so much for tuning in with us. If you stay for all 3 episodes, yes, we love you.
Valentina, Love, Amy, Maddie, Morris, Blue Jean, Billie Jean, Debbie, JS, Renji, you guys rock.
Yes, thank you for the round of applause. Please tune in tomorrow.
Dominique, I forgot, but Dominique.
Oh, Dominique. Can't forget Dominique. Tune in. Tune in tomorrow as we talk about episodes 9 and 10. Monica, go ahead and
Yes, thank you guys so much. You can find me all across social media at Monica Goes Show.
You can find me at Real Shade Jones on Twitter and Instagram, Grand Hotel, Monday for the season finale at 8 p.m. and Thursdays as we do 11, 12, and 13.
Hey. And you can find me everywhere at I Am Danny Royce, and also Monday nights at the Terror After Show. Thank you so much for tuning in. We love you guys.
Bye.
See you soon.
Our founder, Keven Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.